I haven't spoken with you in a little while concerning the COVID-19. COVID-19, yes. Haven't talked to you about it, but I'm going to talk to you about it right now. As time progresses and as we enter into another day, today's date is the 18th of May, 2020. In another 30 minutes or so, it will be May the 19th. I have a prediction. Now, let me say this. Uh, don't be too harsh on me with my prediction. I'm only basing this on partly intuition and what I have observed and the information that has been disseminated and continues to be disseminated to the general public from federal, state authorities, and even local. Things trickle down. And I'm not 100% convinced in what's going on. I'm not 100% convinced in the so-called narrative. I'm not going to accept it, that is. Because, as I've said in time past, something's going on. Something else is going on behind the scenes, and there's no full disclosure. There is a secret agenda, and I believe that that agenda has not ceased. It is still building momentum. This is my prediction. After the people get back to work and jobs reopen, there will be another breakout of COVID-19 that's going to be greater than the first time. And this will cause a greater panic in the public. Then comes more severe rules, restrictions, prohibitions, and then vaccines. This is what the goal has been all along, to vaccinate all of us. And all of the people that are afraid, that are panicking, in other words, they're going to take the vaccinations and they are going to allow their children to be vaccinated. And many of them in time past more than likely would have never done that. But they're going to be convinced that it is necessary and that they have no other alternative, and that it is for the best interest and the good of their children. But we're being deceived. And after this, there will be police and military enforcement to ensure that all so-called U.S. citizens take the vaccination, or there's going to be penalties to pay and even imprisonment. And I'm sorry, but I feel this way. I believe that Donald Trump is going to remain the president of the United States, and that they're using and going to use the COVID-19 pandemic as the reason why he remains in office. Someone is going to finagle the numbers as they have in time past. Someone is going to manipulate the public's point of view by continuing to push the propaganda through the media sources, television, radio, internet, publications, so that they continue to keep this in the people's minds that we have an invisible enemy that has taken over. And this is really not the case. Our enemy is really not invisible. There's a power that be that is, but those that work for the power that be, we see all of the time. Anyway, the purpose of vaccinating all of the population, and as Bill Gates said a couple weeks ago, the best answer is to vaccinate everyone on the entire planet. And then subsequent to that, I saw a female scientist state the same thing. Everyone on the planet needs to be vaccinated. Why is that? What's in the vaccines? Are they going to tell us what's in the vaccines? Every ingredient. For example, when we go to the grocery store, there usually is a list of ingredients. Not even all of the ingredients, but there's a list of ingredients on most packaged products, food products that is, in the grocery store. And you look and you read and you say it has this and this. I don't want that because it has this in it. Will they allow us to know everything that's in the vaccines? And any potential side effects or ill effects of those components and or ingredients? They're not going to tell us. Have they been telling you in time past what's in the vaccinations they've been giving your children for the past 10, 20, 30 years? No, they have not. You've just been accepting it. Did you get a list of what was in the flu vaccines when you got your flu vaccines at the clinic, hospital, drugstore? You were not told. And you didn't even ask. How is it, free people? That's who I'm talking to, you so-called free people. How is it that you allow someone to stick a needle in you and to plunge chemicals inside your body that you know nothing about? And not only that, to cause them to use this same invasive procedure on your children and your grandchildren, and you know nothing about what's in it. But it's all done for the sake of helping the population. You had better wake up. You had better start challenging those people in power and position. You had better start questioning. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. Because if you don't do it now, you're going to pay for it later. Your children and your grandchildren are going to pay for it later. Let me give you this simple scenario. And I'm done. I want those of you that have common sense, and common sense is not common nowadays, but for those of you that think that you have a reasonable amount of intelligence, listen to this. We were told as children that you look up to police officers, you look up to doctors, you look up to firemen, you look up to emergency medical people, you look up to school teachers and professors in college and so forth, and pastors in churches. But did you not know what I just said? All of those individuals that I just spoke of, there are many of those who are in those same vocations in prison. I wonder why. They're in prison because they're human beings, because they commit crimes against humanity, against other people, as does the general population. It makes no difference what occupation they hold. Now, with that said, follow this. If those people from all of those occupations can go to jail for committing various types of crimes, let's take this one individual that we call a doctor. I have a headache, I go to the emergency room. I very rarely get headaches. And I personally don't get headaches. Every once in a while I've had one, but not long, not sustaining, just like that, and it's gone for the most part. But I have a headache. Let's say it started out acute, but it was lingering. All right? So I go to the emergency room. Once I arrive, I see nurses and doctors, people that I've never seen in my entire life. They take my vital signs, my blood pressure, they listen to my heart, they take my weight and so forth. You know what they do. And then I go back to an exam room, waiting on an individual to come in. In comes someone with a lab coat on, a white lab coat, a badge, stethoscope around his neck. Never saw him in my entire life. I don't know who he is, other than the fact that the badge that he is wearing says doctor, whatever. He asked me what brought me in, and I tell him a headache. He says, okay, after he listens to my heart and so forth, he prescribes some medication. Okay? Then he has the nurse give me some medication through a syringe. That procedure requires that she penetrate my skin with a needle and inject some chemical, some pharmaceutical drug into my body that was not there before I came to the hospital emergency room. Did you see something odd that just took place? I went to the emergency room where I was received by individuals that I had never known in my entire life, saw for the first time in my life, and I trusted for some reason that they were there to help me. They injected something into my body that was supposed to benefit me. They didn't tell me this is what this vial of medicine contains. These are the side effects. Inject to you is, how do you trust someone that you don't know and that you've never seen in your life before?